review Gears of War 2, the campaign, Horde mode multiplayer, we cover it all.
Plus, we go hands-on with Demigod and tell you how to start playing Killzone 2 early. X-Play starts now.
TV's most watched video game show. I'm Morgan Webb.
And I'm Adam Sessler. We're coming to you from the G4 Studios in Los Angeles on Thursday, November 6th. Coming up, we review the game that has chainsaw duels, online mayhem, and 50 ways of death. It's Gears of War 2.
You may have heard of it. Then we've got a LittleBigPlanet cheat for all of you budding level designers, as well as a heartbreaking look at the man behind Sackboy's career. But first, let's get all of the day's top headlines in our gaming update.
First up, Bethesda Softworks is reporting a very successful release of Fallout 3. The post-apocalyptic RPG launched across 3 separate platforms and has shipped over 4.7 million units worldwide in just 1 week. That impressive number represents retail sales in excess of $300 million. The game has so far received numerous high scores from the media, including X-Play's highly coveted review score of a 5 out of 5. Next, be sure to double-check the spam filter on your inbox because a new batch of Killzone 2 beta keys have been sent out. Forum boards for the game were recently ignited after word had spread that Phase 1 of the game's public beta had come to an end, opening the doors for a larger Phase 2. No official word yet on the number of keys that were sent out, but those who did receive an invite will need to download the most recent version of the beta from the PlayStation Network. Finally, as Microsoft prepares for the November 19th launch of the new Xbox experience, Netflix has started flexing its own marketing muscle. Gamers who purchase an Xbox 360 copy of 007 Quantum of Solace will receive a free 48-hour streaming trial card for the Netflix service that will soon be available through Xbox Live. So far, the free trial cards have only popped up in North American retail copies of the James Bond game, but it's a pretty safe bet we'll see more of these trial cards in other releases in the near future. Well, that's it for today's gaming update. For the latest news, be sure to check out our website, g4tv.com/xplay. But now let's go over to Morgan, who is always quick to revive a fallen teammate.
I am. 2 years ago, Xbox 360 owners were delighted to burn their copies of Perfect Dark Zero and play a real shooter on the fledgling console. Gears of War was an instant success, exceeding everyone's expectations. And then when the sequel was announced, the expectations were even bigger. We're happy to report that the game lives up to the hype and then some.
There are so many good games coming out at once this holiday. I am excited by the thought of something disappointing me. So I want to apologize to your piggy banks. Gears of War 2 is amazing.
War is all we know.
The story of Gears of War 2 picks up about 6 months after Gears 1 ended, with the war effort going poorly and humanity backed into a corner. Marcus and Dom are back along with a few familiar faces, and they're joined by some new blood. Dizzy the tank driver, Ty the giant crackdown-looking guy, and Ben Carmine, the rookie.
Carmine, you did good.
The Gears 2 campaign is bigger than Gears 1 in every way. The game is longer, the levels are bigger, there are more weapons to murder with, and the bad guys sometimes swarm onto the screen by the dozen. Epic wanted this game to be more, epic. And bolstering the storyline was one of their focuses. Marcus and Dom are a believable duo, and Dom's search for his missing wife is a nice peek into one of these big guys' psyches. Let's be glad Coltrane didn't get the same treatment.
Nobody plays this game like me! Nobody!
There are a couple plot twists that come out of left field, and there are more questions created by the story than are actually answered. But overall, the added emphasis on story only improves this chapter in the Gears saga.
This is the day we take the battle to the heart of the enemy.
The only other little gnats in the campaign ointment are some of the on-rails turret sequences. The difficulty of these sequences spikes, so if you're playing the game at a difficulty that is challenging to you, you'll find these sections can be a pain.
Ain't cool.
Best fix, grab a buddy and get your co-op on. In addition to the co-op campaign, multiplayer is where Gears 2 really shines. Rather than the bare bones options found in Gears 1, we are getting a fully armed and operational multiplayer experience. Gears 2 launches with 10 maps and even comes with a code in the box to download 5 free additional maps from Gears 1, all prettied up, of course. The original Gears also contributes its game types, tweaked to accommodate the new 10-player max, including King of the Hill, which was part of Gears on the PC. New game types include Wingman, a deathmatch made up of 2-man teams, and Submission, a version of CTF where teams have to submit the so-called meat flag, a shotgun-wielding AI character, and drag him to the score point. There's also a little mode called Horde. Horde is not a new idea, but it is an idea that works so well in Gears that it feels new. The premise is simple. Increasingly intense waves of enemies rush you and up to 4 friends. Working together is the only way to survive. Rack up a score for the leaderboard or just go for the 50-wave achievement. So, to sum up all this bad news about another must-have game this holiday, ask your loan shark to spot you another $60 this weekend. Gears of War 2 is not Gears 1.5.
Oh, yeah.
It's Gears 5 out of 5.
It's really hard. Cliff Bleszinski may create games with the manliest of men. That doesn't mean he can't be a Britney Spears fan, too. In this edition of Cliff Notes, we hear the Gears 2 designers' take on this pop star's rise and fall.
Pop culture references, nostalgia, then a pop quiz. A pop quiz you never fear. Not when you've got Cliff Notes here. Cliff Notes.
I want to talk about Britney Spears because Britney Spears is something that's very, very near and dear to me. I believe that Britney at her apex was the ultimate kind of male fantasy. She came out, she did her thing, she was sexy, she was beautiful. She probably wasn't very smart, but you didn't really care about it at that time, and it was incredibly well-produced pop. I mean, you got to be able to appreciate, really deep, serious music for what it is. And you also have to be able to turn off your brain and sometimes be okay with fluff. And that's what Britney Spears was all about. And when you look at each one of her videos, it was like this kind of pop music fantasy. It was almost like a video game, if you remember watching the Toxic video where Britney's on a motorcycle and then Britney has this secret, poison that she has to bring into this base and jump through lasers in order to deliver to this guy with just this crazy red hair. And then in another video, Britney's in this Mexican slum and she's dancing so much that everyone's getting all sweaty and probably getting dehydrated, and it's incredibly compelling and sexy. Then she goes and does a movie called Crossroads with the guy from the Apple commercials, and you're like, what is she doing here? She should have done something edgy, something like maybe directed by an indie director, something that really would have gotten her Academy Award. And then you start thinking, no, maybe Britney really doesn't know how to act. And then she goes and winds up marrying K-Fed. Because you realize when a person gets to that level of success that they surround themselves with about 5 people, and that's their entire dating pool, and that's how she wound up with that guy. And when he ultimately came to the Gears Gold party and I had a chance to demo Gears to him, I really didn't want to because he ruined the perfect American fantasy for the rest of us red-blooded American males.
Ich bin ein Bleszinski.
Coming up on X-Play, Kristen Adams has a cheat for all you LittleBigPlanet fans. Find out everything you need to know about designing your own levels. Plus, find out the shocking truth about Sackboy's home life. And meet the man who says he's responsible for all the success. Then we go hands-on with Demigod, the new RTS from the creators of Supreme Commander. All that and more, right after this.
To X-Play. If you are looking for a game that gives you major bang for your buck, look no further than LittleBigPlanet. Even if you manage to find every sticker and accessory in the game, the fun is far from over. There's a ridiculously deep level creator to work with, and Kristen Adams is here to get you started on your own mini masterpieces.
Thanks, Morgan. If you plan on putting your LittleBigPlanet levels up for the world to see, remember that you're showing them to the world. Before you go off and design your own dream level, it's always good to have an understanding of the basics. Here's everything you'll need to know.
LittleBigPlanet is finally here, but where do you begin? In a game of endless possibilities, you could probably use a little guidance to get things going. So here are a few tips to jumpstart your game. First, if your level looks a little bare, try adding some architecture. All you need are a few beams and a sheet of glass, and you've got yourself an instant storefront. It's a simple way to add a little variety to your landscape. Next, there's an easy way to make floating platforms with more than just dark matter. Just place a small piece of dark matter behind the object that you want to float. Then build a beam out of another material and attach it to the dark matter. This can work for floating score bubbles as well. Carefully placed emitters can also add an interesting element to your levels. For example, you can place an emitter on an orange tree and watch the fruit fly. Play with the settings and you might end up with a mountain of oranges as well as an interesting puzzle. And say you want to fly through the air, but you're having trouble making a springboard with the greatest of ease. Well, you can avoid springs altogether by using pistons instead. Just attach a piston to a beam, then attach a button to the beam and the piston, and there you go. You've triggered a springboard that gets the job done quite nicely. So do it for Sackboy. Get building.
Be sure to check G4TV.com/cheat for the latest tips and tricks. For more on Little Big Planet, let's send it back over to Adam.
All right, thanks, Kristen Adams. Obviously, I think it's worth congratulating you on your new nuptials, and that's why we have the name change.
Thank you so much.
All right, it's official. Sackboy is famous. I drive past billboards of him on the way to work. Children ask me if I know him, for God's sake. People are buying PS3s just to see him. The pint-sized mascot of Little Big Planet is now known the world over, and everything seems okay. However, Sackboy has a problem that no level creator or piece of fluff can solve. An overbearing stage parent.
With a 4.56 split. Need a 9x9 silver over here.
This fall, Little Big Planet is going to be the biggest selling game. Hell, I think it's got a shot at becoming one of the biggest games ever. How do I know that? Because I'm the guy responsible. What you're seeing over there is the culmination of my life's work.
Soaring through the sky with your carrots.
I've spent every minute of every day to get Sackboy to this point. My kid is a star. Look, just do what I say, because, hey, I love you, okay? And if you this up, I will not love you anymore. I'll make you a ward of the state. What do you think I'm kidding? That's legal now in Nebraska. Okay, happy, everybody happy, let's dance! People see the billboards and the ads and they think, oh, that Sackboy is so cute. They don't see the guy behind the cuteness. What I mean is, I'm the unsung hero here. You know, Sackboy was offered that rape movie, but I said no. I said let Dakota Fanning have it. And look what it got her.
Hey, you're swimming. Yeah, riding a unicorn. Okay, now you're C-3PO on Chewbacca's back. Now C-3PO.
And you tell that sucker Ron Howard we get points off gross or we're walking. End of story. Come to Papa. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's see some happy dancing. Happier. Happier. Damn it, I want happy!
Hey, Mr. Sackman?
What? What?
You're gonna have to calm down.
Don't you tell me to calm down! I am calm, you little son of a bitch!
All right, Mr. Sackman.
Oh, you want a piece of this?
We got a nice bucket of vodka in your trailer, okay?
You want a piece of this?
Easy.
I got a black belt in Aikido! Ah! Ah!
You should be ashamed of yourself!
Ah! Give me back my kid! We're out of here!
Oh, no, you don't. He's not going with you.
Oh, God! You pigs! Some people say I'm a tough guy to get along with. But last time I checked, success doesn't bend over for the nice guys. And if they don't like it, I'll call Nintendo.
Hey guys, quiet on set.
Catch G4's premiere of Trigger Happy TV, an outlandish hidden camera show from the UK where no pedestrian is safe from pranks and mayhem.
Who will be the next target? Find out on Trigger Happy TV, which starts Monday night at 6.
Stick around because we've got an exclusive hands-on demo of Demigod.
The genre-bending RTS from gas-powered games is coming up right after this.
Yeah. G4. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life. If you dig this, then you dug this, cause I'm all about the nerd life, word life, yeah. G4X Play.
Welcome back to X Play. Demigod offers a unique twist on the traditional RTS format. Yes, you can still control your troops from afar, but you can also play as an assassin, a one-half-god army with the ability to lay waste to just about anything in your path. And for good measure, developers threw in some RPG elements too. So how does it all come together? Find out as we go hands-on right now.
Independent developer Gas Power Games is teaming up with Stardog to unleash Demigod, a real-time tactical strategy game with action RPG elements. Players control one of 8 demigods, each with their own unique special abilities, strengths, and powers. You can decide whether to command a variety of units or kick ass as a one-man army. The game features single-player campaign, online play, and epic battles with one goal: become a god. Joining us today for this special look at Demigod, Stardog's president and CEO, Brad Wardell. Thanks so much for coming by and bringing a very pretty game. Let's actually just talk about this first. This is really, really good looking. How powerful a PC do you need?
You actually do not need a very powerful PC. It has lower hardware requirements than even Supreme Commander did, even though the graphics on it are just astonishing.
Is this now you're using a similar engine, but are you just kind of retooling it?
It's actually the Supreme Commander engine that's been heavily modified to have a little bit of a lower scope, where Supreme Commander was about having a gigantic map. In this, you have a very specific arena that you're playing in, which allows us to really focus on the game mechanics.
Now, let's talk about those game mechanics. For those that don't know much about Demigod, it is an RTS, but you play it differently than what you're used to.
Indeed, it's basically an RTS and an action RPG put together. So you have one type of Demigod that plays almost like a Dungeon Siege-like or a Diablo-esque type hero, the assassin, and then you have more of an RTS type Demigod, which are the generals.
Now, so how do you sort of start off the game? Do you pick a Demigod and then you get a bunch of lieutenants?
No, basically, when you start the game, you're just picking a Demigod, and your job is to help that Demigod ascend into the pantheon of the gods.
Okay, and it's through all of these various contests. So, how are you controlling the unit? I mean, there is obviously, as you said, the action RPG element,
right,
but there's also the more traditional RTS.
Exactly. Well, in the case of the assassin, you're only controlling the assassin, right? So you're selecting him, and you move him around to buy things, attack enemies. With the case of the general, you do have minions that, such as what you see on the screen here, where you can summon them and you can send them on into battle, either individually as groups.
And so, because it's such a tight space, and we really are used to very big maps right now in our RTSs, so how do you sort of manage the combat? I mean, are you constantly just on one another? You're not doing any resource building?
Well, you're not. The resource building occurs from capturing key objectives of the map. So rather than sitting around building things up, you instead tactically capture a flag that might give you more gold, or might make your troops more lethal.
Now, it is a relatively customizable game. How much can you tool with to kind of make it your little, game?
Well, in this case, a ton, because each of the demigods is extremely unique. And then it's the way you, as you gain experience for killing things, you go up a skill tree almost like in an RPG. And what skills you choose can greatly affect the way your demigod works. In addition, you can also go to the store in the game, the shop, and buy a number of items that customize, making your demigod run faster, so you can actually have 2 players playing the same demigod in a given arena, and each one plays much differently than the other.
And as we're seeing right here, you can actually go into the shop in the course of a battle. This isn't something that you do in between your arenas.
Right, because as you kill enemies and such, you gain gold. You also have mines that give you gold, and once you go from there, you can start buying up more and more powerful items.
Now, let's talk about multiplayer for a moment. What are the modes we're looking at? And I'm very curious to see how 2 players, one playing the action RPG style versus the general, the RTS style, would actually fight one another.
Well, an assassin is much more powerful in one-on-one combat than a general. So, because, if you remember the Rook, the giant walking 50-foot man castle, right? He would squash the Vampire Lord here. But the Vampire Lord has minions, and you actually see those little red guys? When one of the Vampire Lord's powers is he can make enemies, he bites them, and they become vampires themselves. So you can actually imagine the powerful Rook, being overwhelmed by just hordes of these vampires going on.
So you could actually turn his own units against him.
Exactly.
Now, obviously, I think one of the final questions is when can we look forward to playing Demigod?
Well, we have a beta right now that people who pre-order the game can play. but you also, the game's expected to be at retail outlets worldwide in first quarter.
Okay, and because it's Stardock, I'm going to ask the question, where are you guys on the DRM with this game?
Oh, you know the answer to that. Like all of our titles, there is no copy protection or DRM on the CD.
I think you're very bold and very respectful for making that decision. I cannot wait to play the game.
All right,
thanks so much for stopping by. All right, with that, let's send it back over to Morgan.
All right, thanks, Adam. Now, this is a huge week for gamers, and it's only getting better. Here's what's coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow on X-Play, don't miss your first look at a World War II epic. We've got the exclusive world premiere of the Battle Stations Pacific trailer. Plus, we go hands-on with Sonic Unleashed. The Sega icon is back and faster than ever, not to mention a glorious 2D. Then we shoot to thrill with the AC/DC Rock Band 2-track pack. Find out the latest on the thunderous set list that will have you shaking all night long on the highway to hell. And if you're mad at your console, we'll fulfill your dream of total obliteration, courtesy of GeForce Human Wrecking Balls, the Pumphrey Brothers. The destruction starts tomorrow night at 8. Don't miss it.
So, okay, I think Gears getting the 505 wasn't too surprising.
I don't think that was that much of a surprise, but you know what? Like, sometimes games will surprise us, so it's good to check them out.
Yeah, and remember, for those people out there that are wondering about Resistance and Gears, they're both good.
They're both excellent.
Up next, more of us in different outfits.
See you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.